So, in case you guys haven't been paying attention, news broke today that we're getting more realignments, but mostly when it comes to rebuilding a conference that seemed to be on the verge of extinction, that being the Pac-12. Because as a lot of you know, the Pac-12 over the past year or two pretty much got raided almost to extinction because you had Cal and Stanford bolt for the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, which makes no sense in my opinion. You had, the USC and UCLA and Washington bolt for the Big Ten, which region-wise doesn't make any sense, but go figure. And you had Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado bolt for the Big 12. Now, for Colorado, that's more of a homecoming than anything. But yeah, they bolted as well. And regional-wise, they make a little sense because, the Big 12 is supposed to be, Midwest, Upper Midwest, Southeast and all that. Or Southwest and all that. But anyway, everybody thought because of that, Washington State and Oregon State, I should say, were bound to go independent, maybe join the Mountain West after maybe this year or the next 2 years, and the Pac-12 would cease to be. Well, that's not the case because basically the agreement that aligns between Mountain West and Pac-12 to allow Washington State and Oregon State to play some of the Mountain West schools this year and probably next year, that pretty much had more to it than we thought because that was more along the lines of the Pac-12, making a play to basically entice other schools to come over to the conference. And that's exactly what's happened with 4 schools out in the Mountain West heading that way. That being Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Colorado State. Now, there is potential that more schools could be on the way as well. Rumors are that you could have Texas San Antonio from Conference USA. You could have North Texas from Conference USA. You could have Memphis, I think, from the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. You could have Rice, I think, is also part of the American Athletic Conference. They could also be, in the running to join the Pac-12 to help rebuild it. Same with Air Force and UNLV of the Mountain West. Now, there are other schools that could be in consideration as well. Utah State in the Mountain West, San Jose State in the Mountain West. These are schools that potentially could, head that way as well because right now, as of 2026, you have only 6 schools in the Pac-12, and they need potentially 8 schools to be a power conference again, at least within that group of 6, power of 4 discussion when it comes to, let's say, college football playoffs and, New Year's Day bowl games and stuff like that. Or potential big-time bowl games that will replace the New Year's Day bowl games because some of them, if not most of the ones that you would want to get into outside of, the big elite ones like the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and so on, those are going to be taken up by the college football playoff. But you get the idea. Things like the Citrus Bowl and, formerly the Outback Bowl and everything are probably ones people want to look at. But getting to what I'm saying here, basically those are schools along with the ones that have been confirmed that might be on the verge of going to the Pac-12 to help rebuild it. Now, if that's the case, the question is what happens to the Mountain West? Well, if the Mountain West wants to stay in existence, they have that opportunity because they could go to the Sun Belt Conference. They could go to Conference USA, even the MAC, believe it or not, and say, hey, we want to invite some of your schools over to join us. They could do that. They have that, they have that pool, if you will, among probably the most pool, I should say, among a lot of the medium-sized mid schools in FBS. But the other thing they also have is like Conference USA and the Sun Belt. They have a strong pool, if not probably more so than those other two, to entice FCS schools to join them. So you could be looking at schools like Sacramento State, Cal Poly, UC Davis, which are here in California, North Dakota, Montana State. You could be looking at schools like that could be enticed by the Mountain West to join them, as part of the FBS. Basically jump from whether you are in the Big Sky, Big Sky Conference and stuff, over to the Mountain West as part of the FBS and have an opportunity to compete in some major bowl games down the line. So there's that, so there's that possibility too. but here's the thing: the Pac-12 also could do that as well. Again, as I mentioned, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State, those are the ones that are confirmed to be joining come July 2026, with the possibility of Memphis, UNLV, Rice, Texas San Antonio, Air Force, North Texas, also pretty much on watch as possible jumpers from the conferences to the Pac to help rebuild the Pac-12. Now, the reason I also say that the Pac-12 could do this as well is because they don't have to rely on poaching any more Mountain West teams or poaching the AAC or Conference USA, the C-USA. Instead, they could also go, like I said, go the route that the Mountain West could go to rebuild their conference, and look outside to the FCS and say, hey, Sacramento State, North Dakota, you guys are two power conferences on the West region of the FCS. Would you like to come and join, the Pac-12 and get a shot at, going to the bigger bowl games out there as part of the FBS? They can entice them with that. They can entice UC Davis, and they can entice, like I said, they can entice UC Davis. They can entice, Cal Poly. But UC Davis and Cal Poly, I think, are more. I think they're more set for the Mountain West jump than anything, in my opinion. But right now it's still all up in the air as to who else would be joining the four Mountain West schools in the Pac-12 to help rebuild it. And it's going to be an interesting news item to keep an eye on going forward. Now there is discussions, but probably impossible discussions, that Cal and Stanford could get enticed to come back to the Pac-12 because of travel reasons. But right now they're kind of under lock and key with the new agreement with the ACC, the Athletic Coast Conference, which again, that realignment makes no sense to me from a regional standpoint. The same goes for USC and UCLA. That makes no sense in my opinion. In Washington, it makes no sense in my opinion, but they went and did it. But the point I'm getting at is there is discussion, rumor going around that they could be enticed and maybe from a legal situation find a way to go back to the Pac-12 and the ACC, but we'll have to see. But right now, that's what's going on. The Pac-12 is going to survive, with the additions in July of 2026 of Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno State, and the possibility that a couple more teams could be joining them. The schools in the running, as I said, are Memphis, UTSA, Texas San Antonio, North Texas, Air Force, UNLV, and I believe Rice. Yeah, Rice. So those are the other schools that are in contention as well. And like I said, we cannot rule out any FCS schools, either joining the Mountain West to help rebuild it, or even joining the Pac-12 to help rebuild it. And those schools, in my opinion, rank among as the potential ones going. Sacramento State, North Dakota, Montana State, UC Davis, and Cal Poly. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys, on this news of these teams joining the Pac-12. Who else do you think will join in the future? And comment below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and until then, guys, I will talk to y'all later.